Ah, the best time of the year. Showcase week. The time when the hype train never seemed more full and the future of games seems bright. Let's take a look at what's to come. Oh, Marvel has a new game. Sick. Looks like we've got Spider-Man, the Hulk, Rocket Raccoon, Groot, Iron Man, and a bunch of others. Wait, this just looks like Overwatch, but with a new coat of paint on it. No worries, let's check out the trailer for the newest Star Wars game. A Jedi droid? Jawas? Ugnaught and a droidica? This is Overwatch. Huh. Surely we're due for some new games that aren't arena shooters, right? It's fine. PlayStation's State of Play just dropped and I'm sure there's a bunch of new games in it. Okay, this cinematic doesn't look too bad. Let's see some gameplay. And it's Overwatch. What's going on here? Are we back in 2016 when games like Paladins or Battleborn were trying to take on Blizzard's newest game? Are arena shooters this popular that we need 3 new AAA titles? Have these games been in development so long that they missed the hype train? Is this what companies think the gaming culture wants right now? Or maybe they know something that we don't. Let's find out. Firstly, let's start with looking at how long these games have been in development. Marvel Rivals has been in production for at least 4 years, probably a year or two more. Star Wars Hunters had a very rocky development cycle, so it's hard to estimate when development began, but since the game was originally scheduled for release in 2021, I think it's fair to assume that it's been in production since at least 2019 or possibly even 2018. Lastly, Concord, which appears to be the game that has been in development for the longest amount of time, has a confirmed development start date of 2018. So all 3 of our sampled Overwatch-like games began being made around 2018 to 2020 at the latest. What's significant about this? Well, looking at Overwatch-related games, Paladin was losing numbers consistently from 2018 to 2020, with an average player base of around 25,000 players. Battleborn was a dead game, along with Gigantic, which even upon its revival in April of this year has not been doing very well. Only Overwatch itself had solid rising numbers with 40 million active players in 2018. With so many other arena shooters losing market share to Overwatch, either by dying outright or consistently losing players, what is the incentive to enter this competitive market that Overwatch has essentially locked down? These new games have quite literally positioned themselves as David against the Goliath that Overwatch has become. Overwatch 2 has had over 23 million players online in the last 30 days alone, while games like Paladins have less than 5,000 average players in the last 30 days, and Gigantic's new Rampage edition, as shown, is doing significantly worse. While all of this seems to spell doom for Concord, Marvel Rivals, and Star Wars Hunters alike, I think there could be a few reasons that these companies are willing to sink so much money and time into making these games, and specifically making them now. Because there are no alternatives to Overwatch that have anywhere close to as stable of a player base, the market has become very unsaturated with little competition. Just looking at Overwatch's Steam reviews or actually playing the game yourself, it's quite apparent that there are several controversies and issues that players have with the game. But because it has dominated the market for so long and there are very few viable options, it still retains its massive player base. Maybe this is the weakness these new games wish to target. But looking at this roster of new games, I see only one that could possibly succeed. Looking at these 3 games individually, one stands out more than the others. That being Marvel Rivals. This game has a strong IP to draw from and has done very well with early playtesters. While the same could be said for Star Wars Hunters as far as an established IP goes, Marvel Rivals will be coming to all major platforms, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. Oh yeah, now might be a good time to mention that Star Wars Hunters made the single dumbest mistake you can when developing a competitive game like this. They decided to release it on Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android only. What the actual fuck, guys? Who decided this, and what is the goal? This takes any serious competitive players, or even just the majority of gamers in general who would have enjoyed this game, myself included, out of the picture. I just refuse to sweat, grind, or even take seriously a game that is on my phone. That just leaves Concord, which is alright, I guess. Cinematics look cool, but the characters are just the epitome of we have Guardians of the Galaxy at home. The gameplay isn't anything revolutionary, and I do not see any hype gathering around this release. The biggest downside to this game is that it's $40, which Might not seem like a big deal, but Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, and even Star Wars Hunters are free, or will be free on their release. Just like Star Wars Hunters, I just don't see Concord gaining any traction from the majority of players. Meanwhile, Marvel Rivals has already generated an immense amount of hype and is being widely discussed. Now, I do not know if this game will succeed, but in my opinion, it by far has the best chance. I'd like to mention that these three are not the only Overwatch-like games being made at the moment. There is of course games like Fragpunk, which is Xbox's new 5v5 hero shooter, and Valve's upcoming hero shooter Deadlock. But these games each seem to have their own unique feel and aren't near as similar to Overwatch as the three that I've discussed. Back to the original question though, why are these games being made? To further understand this new trend, I looked at another gaming genre that experienced a similar surge in developer interest: Battle Royales. There was a time when PUBG reigned supreme as the only Battle Royale. But then of course Fortnite came along and took over. Apex Legends soon released and became quite successful with its own thriving player base independent of Fortnite or PUBG. Then of course the floodgates opened, and we got Call of Duty Warzone, Super Animal Royale, a Battle Royale with no guns, a Battle Royale styled like Hunger Games, a Battle Royale platformer, a Rhythm Battle Royale, Scrabble Battle Royale, screw it, even a Pac-Man Battle Royale. And while some of these games flopped, there were many that succeeded, and are still maintaining strong player counts today. Now that the Battle Royale genre is fully saturated and gamers are starting to look towards the next trend, developers seem to have put their money on hero shooters being that next big thing. Whether they're gambling on the right horse or not is up for the gaming community to determine. I'm sure many of these new games will fall to the wayside, never to be heard of again, but those that do succeed will find their bet paying off massively. It's no secret that freemium games rake in tons of money each year. Hell, Overwatch 2 itself made $100 million in its first 3 months alone. And it seems like this amount of wealth is worth it for some companies to take the bait and start making their own Overwatch-like games, in the hopes of recreating its meteoric rise. I just hope there's not so much of these games that I get burned out on hero shooters as a whole. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if any of these new games excite you, or why they don't. Like and subscribe to stay up to date on future videos, and I'll see you next time.